A lady was busy in the culinary space when peculiar sounds emanated from the plumbing. Once her spouse Juan arrived, he questioned why dinner wasn't ready. The woman explained the odd noises. Juan investigated but detected nothing, though his wife insisted she heard voices plotting her demise. Juan attributed the disturbances to nearby renovations, advising her to relax. But that night, while his partner was in the washroom, Juan heard thumping against the partition. Wondering who would knock at 5 a.m., a frustrated Juan demanded the neighbor stop. When the sound persisted, he angrily approached Walter's residence and knocked. Someone opened up but remained silent, which baffled Juan. Returning home, he realized the noise originated from his own bathroom. Inside, he witnessed his wife thrashing and hitting, the walls as if possessed. Juan tried to restrain her, but she kept slamming into the structure. Soon, a forensic specialist, a paranormal researcher, and a female professor visited Juan. They stated they didn't think Juan killed his spouse, rather they wanted to investigate recent anomalies. After reflecting, Juan mentioned that his neighbor, Walter, had been behaving erratically, producing strange nocturnal sounds. Upon hearing this, the professor looked stunned, revealing that Walter had contacted her earlier regarding unexplainable happenings in his own home. For months, Walter felt an invisible presence. When he initially reached out, an assistant told him to call back later. Whenever Walter got home, he sensed something underneath his sleeping area. Yet, checking beneath it always revealed nothing. This obsession kept him sleep-deprived until he turned to medication. One night, his frame began shaking violently. Panicked, he glanced under it, finding emptiness. But as he lay back down, a dark figure materialized. Suddenly, the room went dark. The light switch failed. Remembering a power outlet beneath the frame, he plugged in a cord, and a mysterious silhouette sprinted out of the chamber. Terrified, Walter huddled under his covers, praying. By dawn, his residence was completely trashed. He begged the professor for help, reporting that the entity was now manifesting visibly, but the assistant refused again due to a lack of concrete evidence. That evening, Juan visited Walter to confront him about the wall banging, though Walter feigned that he was simply doing home repairs. Determined to document the truth, Walter set up a camera in his quarters. Shortly after drifting off, a noise startled him. As he peeked beneath the frame, his recording device crashed. Glancing toward the window, he spotted a dark shape. He flicked the lights on, only for the entity to vanish. He grabbed his equipment to review the footage, witnessing a terrifying form watching him while he slumbered. It then drifted toward the closet, likely bumping the camera. Disturbed, Walter checked the wardrobe. Finding only clothing, he rewound the video and realized the entity had actually crawled out from under his resting spot. Abruptly, the wardrobe swung open, revealing the ghostly figure. Panic-stricken, Walter peered inside, noticing the entity reflected in the barrel of his own gun. Just as he reached for the firearm, an unseen power hurled him to the floor, followed by total silence. The following day, a young boy playing ball wandered near Walter's property for water. Walter screamed at the lad to get out. As the startled child fled, a passing coach struck him. Hearing the impact, Juan ran outside, recognizing the victim as his neighbor Alicia's son. He shouted for her. Authorities arrived to process the scene, scrubbing the blood from the pavement, a detail that would prove significant. After the funeral, Juan wondered why he hadn't seen Walter for days. Meanwhile, forensic expert Jono was summoned by police to a mysterious crime scene. Upon arrival, he met the woman who filed the report, Alicia, the mother of the boy killed by the bus. Alicia claimed she heard noises outside her door and saw small footprints. Jono, however, remained skeptical, dismissing it as a product of Alicia's grief-stricken imagination, perhaps suggesting she even disturbed the grave herself. As they spoke, a glass of milk on the surface moved on its own, making Jono hesitate. He suggested reburying the corpse immediately to avoid police reports, as the lead officer, Fuse, was Alicia's former lover. If the news of a disturbed grave broke, she would be hospitalized. To protect her, Jono urged Fuse to label the movement as post-mortem muscle activity and provide the mother with sedatives. Stepping outside, Jano spotted a woman photographing the area whom he recognized. Approaching her, he realized she was Professor Elbert, an expert in supernatural occurrences. Jano questioned her presence. Elbert explained she was studying regional anomalies. She mentioned that upon knocking at the house, someone had opened the door, yet no one spoke. Intrigued, Jano invited the professor to collaborate on the investigation. Following this, Jano and Professor Albert gathered in the parlor to deliberate. Jano noted that in 15 years of forensics, he'd never seen a case this perplexing. Though he had witnessed paranormal events, he believed they should be handled quietly rather than sensationalized. The professor concurred. Suddenly, a child searching for a toy somehow passed through the wall into their room. He spotted the corpse, which abruptly turned its head toward him. Meanwhile, Jano dismissed an old photograph as a coincidence, but Professor Albert sensed a connection between the three incidents. A sudden shriek emanated from outside, and as Albert looked toward the entrance, she found it wide open. Realizing an intruder had entered, they concealed the body inside a freezer, unaware that the child's camera had captured the whole thing. Subsequently, Jano and Fuse planned to dispose of the body while the mother slept. Yet, as they moved the remains, the freezer began rocking violently, as if something inside fought to get out. After this event, Albert persuaded Fuse to assist them. By mapping the timeline, they realized the cases were linked. With police permission, they obtained Juan's consent to inspect his home. Fuse and Rosenthal then traveled to Alicia's house with Albert, though Alicia's power had been disconnected due to unpaid bills. Meanwhile, the forensic team visited the late child's residence, situated opposite Walter's. Professor Albert set up monitoring gear to track paranormal spikes. Because of the blackout, Fuse asked about restoring electricity, but Rosenthal insisted that darkness favored the spirits and was necessary to find the truth. Bizarre occurrences commenced. Inside the kitchen, Fuse and Rosenthal saw utensils stuck to the ceiling. As Rosenthal reached out, a blade hovered and slashed his palm. When Fuse moved to assist, he noticed a sinister presence inside the cupboard feeding on the blood. Fuse drew his weapon, but Rosenthal stopped him, opting to extract the blade himself. Fuse eventually escorted Rosenthal to safety. As they treated the injury, Fuse observed the room vibrating, noting that these spirits were drawn to gore. Rosenthal told him to sanitize the area. Elsewhere, Jano received a frantic call from Fuse, who refused to stay because he had witnessed the unexplainable and suffered from a weak heart. Jano glanced into his own mirror, spotting a figure near his bed that wasn't there in person. Suddenly, the specter began crawling out of the glass, and the connection died. Simultaneously, Professor Albert observed a fissure manifesting on a wall. Fuse found Rosenthal and expressed a desire to flee, but Rosenthal spotted a new clue. Looking under the bed, they found nothing, but turning around, they were horrified to see the space filled with ghastly apparitions. Rosenthal theorized that light and shadow coexisted in the same space, requiring only the right viewpoint to perceive. Fuse, overwhelmed, fled the house, but remembered he needed to retrieve Rosenthal. Upon reaching Jano's location, Jano failed to answer his calls. Fuse spotted a hand-shaped bloodstain on a closet door. Gathering nerve, he opened it to find only mundane items. He recalled Rosenthal's advice about shifting perspectives as he leaned toward the frame. A deafening blast erupted from within. Courageously checking, he was devastated. Jano was inside, clearly deceased. Elsewhere, Professor Elbert examined the wall cracks and discovered a hidden Walter, who had been missing for ages. Fuse arrived and alerted her to the tragedy. He warned her not to trust anything seen that night, as supernatural forces were at play. Elbert then contacted Rosenthal, declaring the situation uncontainable and advising an end to the mission, but there was no response. The mystery deepened when Elbert realized these entities traveled via water. The victim had consumed water from the house, and when authorities washed away the accident scene, the contaminated liquid drained into the local sewage, explaining why Juan's wife heard whispers. As Fuse and Elbert watched the wall, a hand emerged, snatching Elbert. The horror induced a fatal cardiac arrest. Simultaneously, a demonic entity clawed its way out of the wall. Meanwhile, Rosenthal was reviewing his recordings when his wardrobe doors swung open, leaving him just as terrified. Fuse, however, miraculously survived the ordeal. When Fuse regained his senses, he saw the furniture moving independently. Alicia suddenly appeared. Fuse begged for her help, but she remained furious, blaming him for her child's death. She had viewed footage on her son's phone showing Fuse concealing a body. After persistent pleas, Alicia's demeanor softened, recalling their past history. Preparing to drive off, Fuse spotted the boy's remains, concluding that Alicia had truly lost her sanity. He fled in a different vehicle toward the clinic. Professor Albert's unexpected presence spooked him further, causing him to accelerate, but he eventually pulled over to radio for help. Meanwhile, Alicia had gone to the precinct to report her child missing. The officers shared Fuse's coordinates with her, assuming he was still investigating. When she arrived at the sites, the car was gone. Hearing this, Fuse radioed his team to evacuate, but they reported seeing a forensic official outside the building acting strangely. Fuse ordered them to ignore it and depart, yet he felt compelled to return. Armed with 2 canisters of gasoline, he intended to torch the haunted residence to destroy the spirits. Inside the parlor, he discovered that Alicia had taken her own life. Though shocked, he proceeded to douse the home in fuel. When he struck a match, it kept extinguishing, and he soon realized Jono stood nearby, snuffing out the flames. Petrified, Fuse finally fired his sidearm at the petrol, igniting a massive blaze that consumed the building. 5 years passed, and 3 visitors approached Juan, asking if he remembered the forensic expert and the professors. Juan recalled them but struggled with their names. One informed him that during the inquiry, Juan witnessed someone staring through the window when no one else was there. Juan picked up a photograph, identifying Professor Rosenthal, and pointed toward the door, noting the man's face was mangled from the fire. As they gazed at the entryway, a nearby seat launched itself into the air, ending the tale, though the enigma persists. Tell me your thoughts in the comments.